One of my very close mates, he was a skipper, he said to me, "Sean, why are you doing this? Why are you doing something when there has been so many failures? You've started this up within 8 months of the Jubilee line opening, which follows your route. What do you know what no one else does? It won't work. Why are you not buying a party boat?"
The relationship with Sean started through my son Tom. He decided that he wanted a row in the famous Doggett's Coat and Badge race, which Sean had previously won. And while he was coaching him, I was approached by a Chinese family. They had taken over the development of the Battersea complex. And I said, I want to bring someone with me who actually worked as a young skipper. We spent all morning while Sean wrote notes for them, gave them a breakdown of how many boats they'd need to build, what the size he felt they should be, spare boats and that sort of thing. And they were absolutely delighted.
That never came to fruition, but it sort of got me fired up.
We got the first boat in 1999. I'd seen an advert for boats, £850,000 to build, and it was up for sale for half the price.
I went down there and had a look at it. It was almost a no-brainer. If we were going to have an opportunity to get something going, that was the key to it.
Names of boats are very important. Clipper came from an old name for fast tea clippers from Australia.
The first sailing was just amazing. I was already up to my overdraft limit, but I did have a full tank of diesel.
You couldn't have had anyone more hardworking or able. What I really felt was with Sean, this was his baby.
I was driving boats for the first 18 months, which is a very nerve-wracking time, only having one boat. And I had a year to prove that I could make it work.
There were loads of headaches, most of them related to the fact that despite my investment, we never had much cash.
I was getting very near to capacity with people buying season tickets.
We made a small profit, enough to expand and buy the second boat.
Sean did a great job getting people like Transport for London involved, who provided a subsidy to operate the service. He got Canary Wharf Group, and then over time started talking to some of the property developers along the river.
We extended the service to the Royal Arsenal at Woolwich. Started to see the opportunity of riverside developments being linked to our Clipper service, and that was the real turning point. And then we had the bombings, 7/7.
An extremely sad and disruptive incident for London.
And that really transformed things. Our commuter footfall grew by 80% overnight and really demonstrated that there was a place for river transport in London. We'd actually started a service between the Tower of London and the London Eye. So that was sort of our off-peak business, supplementing the peak commuter.
We'd taken a lease on a building called the Millennium Dome that then became the O2. It was pretty unloved and pretty unconnected. We had lots of days when the Jubilee line wasn't available, so we had to give people alternative means of getting to Greenwich Peninsula.
Back then, the River Thames was really underutilised.
The Anschutz Entertainment Group really got it.
They were the only people running high-speed commuter craft on the river.
And then I was going to a breakfast meeting with AEG, at which point they said, we want to buy the business.
We saw a fantastic opportunity to work with Sean to become a fast and frequent hop-on, hop-off service from central London to the O2.
Straight away there was a plan to build 6 new boats and to be serving the O2 by the time it opens in June 2007.
Each of those Typhoon class boats had a capacity of 220 passengers, and on board levels of comfort and amenity that really moved the dial.
We had to find new premises, new moorings, fueling facilities. We had to upscale and double the size of the fleet. We grew the patronage from just under 1 million to 2.7 overnight.
Thames Clippers had a big role to play in the opening up of the O2, but it's also been fundamental in terms of opening up other parts of London. And certainly when we looked at it as a business and not just a connection to the O2, we started to see new developments along the river and the ability for Thames Clippers to serve those.
The power of partnership is an interesting one.
The Olympics provided a unique opportunity for Thames Clippers. At the time, there was real concern regarding whether or not London's transport network could cope. Working with the Olympic Delivery Authority to serve the River Zone venues, created a network of river bus express services to link all the River Zone venues. It was quite clear to TfL that the river had far more to offer. And the first River Action Plan was launched in 2013, which secured investment for the river, for new infrastructure, and working with TfL, we oysterised the river, as the Mayor termed it at the time.
There's lots of congestion, pollution, there's overcrowding on the network. So one of the reasons we wanted Thames Clippers to expand is we wanted to get more of those passengers who are currently on the road on the boat. So that's the first thing that's really important. That's why Thames Clippers is very sustainable. But we're also working to reduce the emissions on the river ourselves. We already have 2 of a batch of 3 boats which are hybrids. And although they run on diesel in the outer areas, in the very centre of London where pollution is worst, we're running on battery power.
Thames Clippers were heavily involved 10 years ago when the council decided to create Visit Greenwich. We see Thames Clippers as integral to the whole Greenwich experience. Arriving by river is about 25% of our market. The experience on the boats themselves, incredible machines, with great staff, and it's great theatre.
It's a brilliant way to travel on the River Thames. As I always say, it's better by boat. You can see the sights and the iconic landmarks in London from a really unique vantage point.
It's just such a stress-free way to travel. It's almost serene when you compare it to other forms of transport.
River transport is hugely important for London. For both tourists and commuters. It's very well connected. 24 piers from Barking all the way to Putney has just provided so much more access to the river for many parts of London.
Building a new development on this scale, 10,800 homes, requires partnership. Thames Clippers team is a big part of what's happening here in East London.
So from day one, we've got the boat service at these new developments. That's sped up the regeneration across this part of East London.
We had a target of about 100,000 in that first year, and it's exceeding our expectations. We're about to hit 250,000 passenger journeys.
We are continuing on that trajectory of working with developers, with destinations to support those future plans of extending further east beyond Barking.
The service that Thames Clippers provide is one of a really accessible way to get on the network and onto the River Thames. You can take your bike, you can take your dog, you can take your buggy and your kids. For me, it's that feeling of almost exclusivity. You get on the boat, you get a seat, you can have a drink, whether you're going in or out, you can have a coffee or use the bar. It's not just a point-to-point journey, it's the experience that you get on being on the river.
Some key milestones really were the expansion of the fleet and bringing new piers and new routes into service, but also bringing the partnership with Uber to Thames Clippers.
We're very, very visible together. We're totally integrated with London's transport infrastructure. People just hop on and get off, take public transport, Uber, line bikes. So it became obvious to us that we absolutely should partner to create Uber Boat by Thames Clippers.
One of the things that Thames Clippers has really led on has been innovation on sustainability. That sort of innovation is really needed across the river.
I think it sets a real standard on the Thames, and we really look forward to seeing what else Thames Clippers can introduce in the future years.
White Shipyard are currently building 2 brand new boats for us. They've just completed the 3rd of the hybrids. It's great to be supporting British shipbuilding.
We understand hybrid boats, we understand electric boats. We got asked to look at a cross-river ferry, fully electric, completely zero carbon emissions, and we'll be able to operate throughout the day on one charge.
We're building a light freight logistic vessel, and that's 100% electric, that will operate from the logistics sectors in Tilbury Dock and Dartford area into central London, where they will then connect with e-cargo bikes.
On one of these boats we'll carry 20 or 30, maybe even 40 Ford Transit land loads.
It's going to actually deliver a service, but it's also going to be a bit of further development as to how we can achieve the next steps with passenger and create tailpipe zero.
We need on the River Thames to represent the communities that live alongside the river, and we know that London is a very diverse place. Thames Clippers has really shown leadership around diversity of the workforce on the river.
Diversity is hugely important to us. We do acknowledge that the marine sector is quite a male-dominated sector, and the number of female captains and engineers we have is truly phenomenal, and it's a key part of what makes us a great place to work.
One of the reasons why Thames Clippers has been more successful than anyone else who's tried to run passenger services on the river is because they have the River Thames in their blood. They know about the people, they know about the staff, and they know what the passengers themselves want.
Young apprentices that are now entering into management position.
Culture it creates truly is inspirational and ultimately the best place to work on the river.
Ownership changed in March 2022 when Northleaf Capital Partners bought the business from AEG, a completely new chapter in the history of the business. They're committed to investment long term, the additional vessels that we've now got under build, pier acquisition, dry dock development. We've got a chairman, Leon Daniels, who used to be head of surface transport for London.
25 years from now, I'm convinced Thames Clippers will be a much bigger organisation. There'll be more boats, more freight, there'll be lots more people travelling on the river, and we'll be using the river much more efficiently.
I never really see it getting beyond 3 boats, a few 100,000 passengers a year maybe. And now to be employing over 500 people, to have a fleet of 23 vessels carrying 5 million passengers today is pretty significant. The future development, I hope, continues on that same trajectory in giving young people the opportunity to enter the industry and develop through all ranks and take every opportunity they have to take a good business and evolve it into a great business.
He's done a brilliant job. I'm so proud of this company, and he's got a lovely team of people around him, and he always has had.
From the start in the 90s to today, the journey is absolutely incredible, and I congratulate the team on the success of the last 25 years.
See what the next 25 years have in store. Our plans are more boats, more people, more services. We've also got great ambitions in fast freight.
In 25 years' time, I believe Thames Clippers will continue to be the leading river service in London. I would like to see a network of cross-river ferries. I'd like to see our network being net zero, with customers being proud to be travelling on our service because we are net zero.
I have a phenomenal team here. The ESG element of the business, that has got to be a focus. I see our passenger numbers continuing to grow, and we have been approached many, many times to operate other services elsewhere in the world, but I think there is potentially other locations. I see it becoming a global entity.